Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. This is Best Bets Part 1. We're going to have Best Bets from Ralph and Bryan. We'll start with you, Bryan, since you got the marquee matchup this week. You're taking a look at Charlotte and Marshall, and you've had some success with these ugly games, and ugly knows ugly, so go ahead. We'll give you the stage.
Wow.
I should just walk off, but I got things to do. I want to get this stuff done. When this line came out, I was considering this for my game of the year. I said, the line was 18, and I says, oh my. I said, this line should be nowhere near that spot. And then sure enough, I go to bed thinking I might get a 20 the next day. I wake up to 14. I still like it. This Charlotte team, they started the year, they played Eastern Michigan, Louisville, Old Dominion, and Temple. We've now found out those are some pretty good football teams. The last 2 weeks, they play Florida Atlantic and Florida International. They win those games. They're building up a lot of confidence. We look back before the season started, when everybody did their preparation work. Charlotte was supposed to be one of the most improved teams in the country, but we didn't see it because they played teams that were better than what they thought they were going to be. So now we've got them coming in against this Marshall team. And if you're talking disappointing, you got a picture of Marshall thundering herd in the dictionary. Well, they're 1-4 straight up on the season versus FBS opposition. And when you take a look at every single game they played, they've lost the yards per play battle in every game. Not by a little, but by a lot. This is the most overrated team in college football right now. And I do a thing with explosive plays, 20 yards in longer for offense and defense. Charlotte, each game is down 1.5 explosive play a game. Marshall is down 2.4. So last week, and it was a good week for underdogs. I went 7-0 on Saturday. But if you take an underdog that's got the less of the explosive plays, the better numbers on the explosive plays, and play them on a money line, they're a great position for me, and it worked out really well last week. We had Northwestern, we had Vanderbilt, we had New Mexico against Air Force. Not only do I think Charlotte wins this game, we get into plus 13, I think they win this game outright. I love Charlotte here.
All right, so he's taking Charlotte plus the 13, and things did work out good for him last week, 7-0 in the Nugget contest, big week at Wager Talk, and I know it was a good week when Bryan picks up the tab on Monday Night Football.
I picked up the tabs every dinner I've had this week. It was that good of a week.
All right.
Let's hope he goes 7-0 again.
Yeah, there you go.
It's the only time I get this guy to have a meal with me.
All right, Ralph, we're going to take a look at you, and you're taking it a really big dog, but I think you're going to be taking the spot more than the actual team, and you're looking at Penn State and Ohio State.
We talked about how Ohio State lines became inflated. And I think when that happens, it takes more than just one loss to get off that inflated line. I think it takes at least 2 games for Vegas to readjust, for the fans to back off the team that won them all that money. So we have the Wisconsin game that they just got by in overtime, and now I think Penn State is that same situation. Winning on the Big Ten road is very difficult. Now I say that after a week where the Big Ten road teams went 6-0 last week, by the way. So that was certainly an anomaly. But, you look at Ohio State playing at Wisconsin with game day there and having to go to overtime in a very, very physical game. Now you're playing at Ohio State, at Penn State at night. And in this situation, I give Penn State a 5.5 home edge, which is more than any team in any situation in college football. LSU in a night game, in my mind, is a 5. Penn State for a whiteout game is a 5.5. So I have this higher than any team, any situation in football. So you're playing Ohio State off a back-to-back week against a team that's improved and off a bye, that has an offense that now put up, I think, 450 each of the last 2 games. And one last thing I want to throw in this situation is we get to mid-October, and you certainly have to start looking at the weather. There's going to be 20-mile-an-hour winds there, which hurts both teams, but it helps the underdog keep the game close if teams can't throw. We saw Ohio State struggle with the passing game against Tulsa in the rain and wind, and that was against a Tulsa defense where they only put up 300-some yards. Of course, they had a couple defensive touchdowns, so the score was misleading. So, a couple other things I want to mention, not part of my best bets, but you have USF going to Temple this week. You have UCF going to UConn. The weather, Northeast, Saturday right now, rain, low 50s, feel like temperatures high 40s, low 40s or high 30s. So when you're looking at those teams coming up north now, Ohio State's not in that situation. Just an extra tidbit for our listeners to pay attention to. I do like the whiteout game. I do like Penn State to keep it close. I think Ohio State wins the game, but more in the 10 to 11 to 12 point range.
Just to throw one other thing in there with the whiteout, not only is it a whiteout game, but it is a rare night game at Happy Valley. You don't play a lot of night games at Penn State, and this is a night game, so another big factor.
Well, the last one they played against Ohio State was also a whiteout, and it took them, the sack by Bosa, when he was going in the fourth quarter, which was one of the plays of the year.
This would be the type of game that would get a lot of heat off of James Franklin, too, because he's a guy that's been on the hot seat. So there you have it. Bryan says to take Charlotte plus 13, and Ralph's going with Penn State plus 19.5. Guys, either you guys have anything big you want to promote for this weekend? I know you're coming off a huge week, Bryan.
Yeah, we were 8-0-1 last week in college football. I didn't have my MAC game of the week because I had 2 games that were equal. And we won both of those, obviously, when you go 7-0. But this week we do have our MAC game of the week, and it's up, our only MAC play for the week. And I also have a 5% play, which I said I wasn't going to have last week after the last couple went down. But we do have a 5% going this week. Big card. I've got 7 games up right now in college football.
All right, so check out a weekend all access. Ralph?
First 5% in the NFL going. College football may be my deepest card this year. I'm looking anywhere from 8 to 10 plays, including 4 to 5 totals this week.
All right, good stuff, guys. So check out that weekend all access at Wager Talk, just $69. Pick your favorite capper, and you can use that coupon code BIGBEN10, and you'll save $10 on that package. We'll be back with more here at wagertalk.com.